What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Two more bowl game preview predictions up for you today. The first one here I got is the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl from Boca Raton, Florida. And this is going to be a very intriguing matchup. It's the South Florida Bulls back into a bowl game. The Bulls are going bowling versus the Syracuse Orange, who kind of clawed and scratched their way into the postseason. We'll talk everything about the Bulls and the Orange here in a minute, but before we do, you guys know I got to say thank you for all the love and support the channel has seen as of late. It's been absolutely crazy to me. You guys killed it during the regular season, and you guys have continued to show your support during bowl season, so continue to show your support, like, comment, share, or hey, just by watching this video, you're helping to support the channel, hitting the subscribe button, ringing the bell, anything that you guys do to interact with the channel, all those ways and more, help to support what I do here on YouTube, and everything that you guys do is greatly appreciated. And like I've said with every bowl game preview prediction so far this year, sometimes it can be a little tricky to really tell, okay, who's opting out, who's not playing. There are some last-minute players. So as of recording this video, I have a list of players, and I'm going to do my best. But please, Bulls fans, Orange fans, let me know in the comment section down below if I missed anyone super major, or I'd say if I missed anyone super major, or if there's anything else that comes out before this game kicks off. That would be greatly appreciated. But with all that out of the way, let's dive on into talking about this matchup here. The South Florida Bulls are the designated road team, so we're going to go through the two team stats, and we are going to start out here with South Florida. Now, 6-6 for South Florida. Well, yes, it's a very impressive record, and hey, for everyone that's been around this Bulls program that has had to deal with the past couple of years of just misery and torment and being at the bottom of the barrel or near it of the college football world for so long, being in a bowl game means everything for this program, and nothing gets taken away from me. However, the schedule did lighten did lighten up a whole lot from this past year. The American Athletic, again, did lose some pretty good teams, and South Florida definitely played an easier schedule because of it. However, taking nothing away from this team, I mean, Byron Brown, that quarterback, man, he is a dynamic threat. He is a really, really fun player to watch. 3,078 yards and 23 touchdowns on 63% completion percentage. Now, the interception numbers do get him a little bit. He did throw 11 picks this year. However, he's also the team's second leading rusher and is very darn close to being the team's leading rusher. Has the most carries on the team with 189 carries, 745 yards, and 11 touchdowns. A lot of rumors that he was going to get into the transfer portal, try to go to a big-name school. Nope, he is going to remain a South Florida Bull for 2024, which is huge news for this program. Do believe he's going to end up playing in the bowl game as well. He's not the leading rusher. As I said, the leading rusher on this team is Naquan Wright, has over 750 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's got some really good threats out there in the wide receiver room as well, and Atkins and Simmons and Brown-Stevens. Brown-Stevens, two different players. Now, this offense could be a little bit better on third down, and the offensive line has not done a great job of protecting Brown all season. He's been sacked 36 times, and then there have been some backups that have come in and been sacked 4 times, so 40 sacks allowed on the year. Definitely something that's going to need to improve here in this bowl game, because it is a Syracuse team that, as we'll explore later, does have the ability to bring the pass rush. But speaking of that, South Florida, well, that isn't really their strong suit defensively, and the run defense, well, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either. I mean, this offense really exploded this year. 455 yards per game. That's what the defense is allowing. In fact, the defense is averaging just a little bit more, like the tiniest fraction, the tiniest percentage more than what the offense is actually gaining. Points per game, they're allowing over 35 yards per game. Now, there are ways in areas where this defense did improve. They are forcing takeaways, and they do have the ability at times to be able to get home to the quarterback. However, this rush defense is fairly solid, but it's not great, and this pass defense is just downright not that good. This is a South Florida defense that's really going to need to step up against the Syracuse offense that can be very, very potent. However, it's going to be without one of its most potent offensive threats, and that's the quarterback in Garrett Schrader. 1,686 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 6 picks entering this game. Was also the team's second leading rusher. 469 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns for Schrader on the year. Unfortunately, I believe due to injury, he is going to be out for this game. I believe he was expected to play, but Garrett Schrader, to my knowledge, is not going to be playing here in this game. That is very, very significant. He is a huge part to this offense, and I'm not sure exactly who is going to start. I do believe, though, it's going to be Carlos Del Rio Wilson, who will get the nod at quarterback. 26 of 51, 282 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 6 interceptions. So that's not a good touchdown to interception ratio. He's definitely going to have to play some really good game managing football, but this is a Syracuse offense that is led by their running back in LeQuint Allen. 225 carries, 1,062 yards, and 9 touchdowns on the season. There have been times this year where the run game has really struggled to get going. It can't do that here. This is a South Florida team that you can make pay on the ground, but also with Schrader out, this is the passing offense that just hasn't been great this year. Schrader's a guy that can end up providing that spark. Del Rio Wilson or whoever else happens to play quarterback is going to have to get it out to guys like Alford and Hatcher and Brown. You're going to need to make this South Florida secondary pay for it just being not a great unit this year. Syracuse is pretty good on third downs and does a better job of protecting the quarterback in South Florida, but again, still not great numbers in that category either. Defensively, let's take a look at the Syracuse Orange. This is where we see a pretty notable opt-out / transfer. I believe he's in the transfer portal, and that's Leon Lowry Jr. He's a top 10 tackler for this team. 46 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 1 pass defended. He's probably one of their better defensive players. He will not be playing here in this game. And this Syracuse team, for what it is, again, not a super great, super elite defense, but it does a whole lot of things better than South Florida. It can stop the run better. It definitely stops the pass better. It keeps teams off the scoreboard better. The one key category that Syracuse has really struggled to find it in with this defense is their third down defense. That's going to need to come up large. South Florida is a team that hasn't done super great on third downs all year, but I think everyone around this program has seen the potential and seen the ability of this offense to be able to convert those opportunities, and especially without Lowry out now, you're going to need some other leaders to step up. Don't worry, you have 2 guys that have at least 80 tackles on the season here for this defense. That's Marlo Wax, your leading tackler with 99 tackles, and then your leading defensive back in Justin Barron there as well. Leads me into my what to watch for, kind of like your keys to the game. Really, whatever you want to call them. It's just things that I think you should keep an eye on when / if you pay attention to this one. And actually, there should be no if. It's the only game on this day. You better be tuned in this one. This one has the potential to be a lot of fun. And when you take a look at this Syracuse defense, as I just described, I think this balanced attack of South Florida is going to give this Orange defense a lot of trouble. Byron Brown, as I said, is a very, very explosive Byrum Brown. An M at the end, not an Ed. My apologies to the Brown family. But Brown is a very explosive quarterback, does it with his arm, does it with his legs. He is a very, very good option no matter what the play call is here for South Florida. He has the ability to get it to these wide receivers. He can run the ball as well. It creates for a very balanced and at times very dynamic offense that I think is going to give this Syracuse defense a lot of trouble. However, when you take a look over at the defensive side, I have no doubt South Florida is going to be able to move the ball and be able to score their points. This is a defense that has to step up. It's a run defense that has to limit explosive plays. That's what the Syracuse Orange are going to try to do. More on that later. And the pass defense is very, very, very suspect, as I've mentioned before. Now, they have 42 passes defended. They have 12 picks. Those are some pretty solid numbers, but they allow the explosive plays more often than not. It's why they're allowing over 300 yards per game through the air. That cannot happen here. And with Garrett Schrader out, this is going to be an offense with Syracuse that is going to be run-led, and LeQuint Allen has to get it going. There have been times this year where the Syracuse run game, even when Schrader was there and Schrader was playing, that would be very lackluster and wouldn't get out to the start or wouldn't have the game that it needed to have. LeQuint Allen and some of these other running backs here need to spark this offense. This is a rushing attack that has to get it going, but even with Garrett Schrader out, Del Rio Wilson, Valari, whoever else happens to throw a pass for Syracuse in this game, they may not be as talented as Garrett Schrader throwing the ball, but they can make this Bulls defense pay if you're able to get the ball downfield. And that's my second bullet point. This Bulls secondary, I know that Allen and the run game have to be the feature of this offense, especially with Garrett Schrader out, but the secondary needs to be worked. And the secondary, you need to take some shots against this Bulls defense because that is where they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable in the defensive back grouping. You need to be able to take some shots and take your chances throwing one up for grabs down the field. But I think a big difference maker in this game is going to be turnovers. If you rewind the video back and take a look at those numbers, I know I didn't really talk about it much. The turnover battle is kind of even. Both teams turning the ball over, I believe, 20 times, and I believe South Florida with 20 turnovers for Syracuse with 21. So the turnover battle entering this game between these two teams is very even within the own team, and then very even when you compare both of these two teams as well. I think turnovers are going to play a pretty huge role here, and I think South Florida is going to get Syracuse in some trouble early. I could see this team going up 14-3, putting up a really good fight, and everyone's thinking, oh man, South Florida going from the bottom to a bowl game win. But I think Syracuse is going to have that offensive outburst at least late in the second quarter, if not that second half. I think LaQuint Allen is going to find it. I think Del Rio Wilson or whoever else happens to play quarterback is going to be able to hit some shots in the Syracuse Orange. I think offensively will make the defense of South Florida pay. They will pull off a second half comeback, if you will, and the Syracuse Orange will win the Boca Raton Bowl. I got by a score of 33-24. Let me know how you see this one playing out in the comment section down below. South Florida, give a lot of credit to them. They've had a good season. I think they're going to come up just short here against an ACC opponent. But hey, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.